St. Joseph Public Schools Foundation, and I want to welcome you here today. This is a very special occasion, especially for our class of 2016. We're graduating today, but also for our distinguished alums and our special guest, distinguished philanthropists, I might add. You know, our school has a long history. It's hard to believe, but St. Joseph High School was 175 years old in 2013. This school district, not this building obviously, goes all the way back to 1838. We were here in the very beginning. The St. Joe Public School Foundation has been a part of the history of this school since 1996, for the last 20 years, and has generated over $2 million in support for the various programs and students here in St. Joseph High School in that period of time. Not only the high school, but the entire school system. So before introducing our guest of honor today, I want you to join me in recognizing some guests that this wouldn't be possible without their support. First, I'd like to introduce, and I'd like to have them stand and stay standing and hold your applause till everyone has been introduced. But first is our superintendent, Ann Carden. Ann, please stand. Our St. Joe Public School Foundation Board, and our president, Amy Ford Pierce, and her board. So any board members here, please stand. Our foundation board members, St. Joe Public School Foundation board members. We know we have some of them here. And then our distinguished alumni committee, our chairman, Bill Benner, who is seated behind me, Bob Ehrenberg, Sally Geldof, Kathy Pierce, Jeff Runzer, and Mike Ryan. I can tell you without them, this event would not occur. They were the brains and the muscle and the mind and everything behind it to make it happen. Also for preparing our program booklet, which if you haven't seen, I see some on the table. Beth Mandarino, Jenny Antonson, and Sue Reemlin. The food here from our Director of Food Service, Deborah Youngquist and her staff, and Keith Rogan, our Director of Maintenance and staff, our St. Joe Public School Foundation students. There are some around here, I believe. And our student videographers back there are Erica Heathcote and Maya Altholz. So I can tell you, as they say, it takes many hands makes light work. We had many hands and the work was light, I think, for everyone, but let's give them a big hand. We also have four very special guests here I want to introduce as well. Our Distinguished Alumni Award presentation, and we have four of our prior distinguished alums here. First, I'd like to introduce Rick Dyer, class of 1976, and hold your applause till they're all standing. Rick, where are you? Here he is, over here. Then we have Donna Timber, class of 1974. Congratulations, Donna. Jim Menchinger, seated over here, class of 1958. And the senior citizen of the group, Mr. Bob Goebel, class of 1953. Where are you, Bob? There he is, back in the back. You know, 2 years ago, the St. Joe Public School Foundation created the Distinguished Philanthropist Award. The award is presented to an individual, family, association, corporation, or foundation with a proven record of providing major ongoing financial support and leadership to the foundation. This is only the second time that this award has been presented. Today, we are pleased to announce Stephen and Elizabeth Upton as the recipients of this prestigious award. The Upton name has a huge legacy in our area, and Steve and Elizabeth are important contributors to that legacy. I have had the honor of knowing them for many years. Individually and together, they have made their mark on this community and our St. Joseph School District. Steve attended St. Joe High School through his junior year and completed his senior year at Deerfield Academy in Deerfield, Massachusetts. After graduation, he served our country in the U.S. Infantry in Europe for 2.5 years and participated in the Battle of the Bulge. I understand that his unit experienced heavy casualties. He returned to Michigan and began his studies at the University of Michigan, graduating with a business degree in 1949. As most of you know, he had a long and distinguished career at Whirlpool Corporation. He is credited with creating the Cool Mine, which was the first consumer assistance response center in the industry. This concept lives on today at Whirlpool and is a great example of Steve's care and concern for others, in this case, Whirlpool customers. Elizabeth, whom Steve knew growing up, graduated from Lyons Township High School in LaGrange, Illinois in 1947. She too attended the University of Michigan, graduating in 1951 with a Bachelor of Education degree. Her interest in education led her to participate in many childhood development and adoption-related activities. Even though they had known each other for many years, the thought of getting married struck them while at Michigan. They had been married for 65 years and are very proud of their 5 grown children and many grandchildren. Through the years, they had been extremely involved in the Twin Cities, giving generously of their time, talent, and resources. Steve, who led the Frederick S. Upton Foundation for 55 years, is proud of its ongoing contributions to area schools and organizations. Elizabeth, in addition to raising their 5 children, also took in foster children. She says, "I love being a mother, a grandmother, a great-grandmother, and foster mother. Guiding our biological children through the process of accepting and including foster children into our home and family was a heartwarming accomplishment." The Uptons opened their home to 15 foster children over a period of 8 years. A strong belief in excellent education for the children in our community led them to contributing to the St. Joseph Public Schools Foundation. Though they have funded many valuable projects and experiences for St. Joe students, they believe that the planetarium project at the Upton Middle School is perhaps the most rewarding. They feel that children and adults of all ages have benefited from the facility and can continue to do so for years to come. When asked to comment on their philosophy of life to share with us, our students, they said, "We believe that one of the keys to success in life is found in education, also which includes learning from life's hard knocks. We learn from our mistakes. We also strongly believe in the give back principle." Whirlpool started with 3 to 4 people. Today, it employs nearly 90,000 folks worldwide. We believe in using that success to reinvest in the lives of the people here in our community. So succeed in life and use that success to give back to others. For these and many more reasons, too numerous to mention here today, the St. Joseph Public Schools Foundation is honored to present our Distinguished Philanthropist Award to Steve and Elizabeth Upton. Please join me and recognize them as they make their way up here to this platform.
Young man that led us around to the elevator as we came tonight was wearing Nelson Mandela's quotation. I think he's right back there. I was wishing I could said it, and you can say it so much better than I. Why don't you tell them what it says on the back of your shirt?
I had to change, but it says, education is the most powerful weapon with which you can use to change the world.
Well, I thank you very much for this honor. It makes me think that my dad Frederick S. Upton, when he came to town, 21 years old, to help his brother and uncle start Upton Machine Company, a little company that had real struggles. But as Bill mentioned in his rundown, it has been a great success. And it was interesting that Dad, when he was close to his retirement from Whirlpool, decided to start 2 foundations. I think there was possibly a change in the regulations from Washington, but all of a sudden he started 2 foundations. One was the Whirlpool Foundation. This was in 1954, and in 1954-5 he started the Frederick S. Upton Foundation, which after a few years, when he no longer had a secretary of Whirlpool, because he retired, I took over as the president, and it's been a wonderful experience for me in all these years to think back to the start of not only the company, but the foundations, which has meant so much to this community. One of the good things that we did is to bring in Dr. Ben Carson, who was, before he was running for president, we had him address all 4 high schools in Berrien County, St. Joe, Benton Harbor, Lakeshore, and Niles. And each one of them sent 250 students to the meeting over at Lake Michigan College. And it was a wonderful experience for everyone concerned. It's one of the things that we coordinated through Bill, and Bill was the MC for that meeting. And of course, I think Ben Carson, who separated those twins with both twins living, was a real accomplishment, and it was a wonderful experience for all concerned. Thank you.
As a small token of our appreciation, we have this plaque for you and Elizabeth, and we thank you so much for everything you've not only done for our school district, but for the community. You have been outstanding examples for everyone to follow. Thank you. Thank you. It's my honor to turn the program over to Bill Benner, who is the chairman of our Distinguished Alumni Committee. Bill?
Thank you, Bill. Again, welcome to all of you who are here on this wonderful graduation Sunday. My job is fairly limited today. I get to introduce a couple people who are very much involved with foundation activities, and they in turn will be introducing our distinguished alumni award winners. The first person I'm introducing is Ginny Atkinson. I wrote some notes and I was trying to think of how to describe Ginny, and I came up with this. If a person were to be described as a tour de force, Ginny Atkinson would be a tour de force. Ginny taught French in St. Joe High School for 35 years. She's retired now from our foundation board after 9 years of service. And though she no longer has to attend board meetings, she's still very active in producing our monthly newsletter and other foundation public relation activities. If you know Ginny, you know she brings insight, dedication, and energy to every task she engages. Ginny will be introducing Carol Stockman, her friend for over 40 years, and the lady she considers her second mom. Please welcome Ginny.
I'd introduce Carol today. Okay. Can you hear me okay? Yeah. Okay. When Bill asked me if I would introduce Carol today, I was extremely honored, but I was also challenged because he said, keep it brief. There's just so much I could tell you about her and her commitment not only to this community, but to the state and to our country. You have a synopsis program of her awards and her activities, and believe me, that's not all of them, but we have limited room, so I hope that you will take the time to read through that. Throughout the years, she's been actively involved in politics, 4-H, public education, United Way, church, and recently, public health. She always sees the glass as half full and isn't afraid to take on a challenge to fill that glass. Her days are still filled with activities that benefit others. She's selfless with her time and talents. Age and health issues have not slowed her down a bit. She is still active in many organizations where she's willing to take a leadership role or do groundwork. No task is too large or too small for Carol. She's always willing to lend a hand, take something to a friend, prepare a meal, provide a ride, work on a committee, donate to a good cause, or just do what needs to be done. In the 40 years that I've known Carol, I've never ceased to be amazed by her generosity, her energy, her devotion, and her hard work. Volunteering is not something that she simply does. It is who she is. Our community is a better place because of her and her tireless efforts. She has been my mentor, my sounding board, my hero, my champion, and my cherished friend. Carol's always inspired me to do more, to be better, and I am, I think, indeed, a better person because of her influence in my life. She has been and continues to be an inspiration to many. What a wonderful role model for St. Joseph Public School students. I can think of no other alumni, and I've taught many through the years, who is more deserving of this award. And now it is my privilege to be able to introduce to you my dear friend and my second mom, Carol Bartz Stockman, St. Joseph High School class of 1945 and 2016 St. Joseph Public Schools Distinguished Alumni.
Well, I just come with a humble heart. Too many nice things were said about me. I don't know if I deserve them all. But I grew up in a family that both my mother and dad were always in community activities, and I thought that's the way people lived. And so I started from a young person in doing that kind of a thing, and it just continues. My mother graduated from St. Joe, and I don't even know what year, 18-something. 19, early 1900s. But anyway, St. Joe was my school district. Their school of choice when I went to school, so, you know, that's nothing new. I went to a one-room school, and you could go to St. Joe, Benton Harbor, Baroda, Stevensville, or Bering Springs. Well, my dad worked downtown, so we chose St. Joe. And we had a wonderful class, but we had to grow up. That was the war. We had scrap drives, all kinds of things. Went out and worked on farms because there were few men. They were kind of all gone. So you learn to do things that maybe our young people today don't know how to. They know how to use their thumbs, but they don't maybe know how to work. But
accept this wonderful honor, and I'm very humbled by it. Thank you so very much.
We have this box to give to Carol, and it's inscribed inside as being the distinguished alumna. Oh, right here. Oh, right here. Smile.
Carol, we also have the certificate. Oh, so thank you so much and congratulations. Why don't I take these as you?
Yeah.
The next lady I have the privilege to introduce is Sally Geldof. It's easy to say nice things about Sally Geldof. She graduated from St. Joe High in 1982. She serves on our Distinguished Alumni Committee and was a member of the concept group which created the Foundation's Distinguished Alumni Award. Sally always brings a special sparkle to the things that she does, and she is enthusiastically involved in the planning and coordination of this Distinguished Alumni reception. Sally will be introducing John Anzalone, a man she describes as one of her best friends. Please welcome Sally.
He's called the best pollster you've never heard of, and one of the most respected information gatherers in the business. Wow. Since 1994, John and his team have been rocking it out in the world of political polling by going beyond just providing numbers to their clients. But you see, for John, in all aspects of his life, it's always been about relationships. Not only does he offer actionable, strategic advice and insights to his clients, but he's got their backs and they know it. He partners with compassion and understanding, which builds a high level of trust and consistently exceeds expectations. So when I think about John, these are some of the words that come to mind. Kind, loyal, fun, funny, competitive, dynamic, opinionated, honest, and occasionally ornery. And I think Dennis Bowen can attest to that. And you're lucky Martha Long isn't here. I can say these things with confidence because John and I have been best buddies since the first grade. I'm sure, does anyone out there remember Mrs. Tippins and E.P. Clark? That's where it all began. And boy, do I have some stories to tell. But I'm not going to do that today, so don't get too nervous. What I'd really like you to walk away from today, knowing about John, is that he is an extraordinary person. First and foremost, he adores his beautiful wife, Wendy, his 4 amazing children, his family, and countless friends all over the world. And I'm so incredibly honored today to be able to introduce to you my dear friend and fellow St. Joe Bear, John Allen Anthony Anzalone.
Sally Britt is one of mine, her own tour de force. I really want to thank you. It's kind of overwhelming just being back here after so many years. When you are a teenager, you don't necessarily think about what are the components of being a successful person later on in life. When you're 52, you've had a little time to think about that in terms of the people that have come before you. And I think that there was like 3 things I'd like to just talk about. One is that you leave here feeling like this is a really special place to live. Again, you don't know why, because you're 18, and years go by and you realize that you left here with a set of community values that St. Joseph produces with you. And one of those reasons are people like Steve and Elizabeth Upton. You leave this small town and you're proud to tell people that you're from St. Joe, but you always say, it's the world headquarters of Whirlpool, right? And it's because of people like Stephen and Elizabeth that give so much of themselves to make such a great community and lead by example. And I want to thank you, because I think all of us that leave this school take a little bit of that with us when we go into our communities and try to make a difference. And we thank Congressman Fred Upton for carrying that on, and people like Amy Ford Pierce for carrying that on, and that's really important. The second thing is that we had just an amazing parents. I mean, I accept this award for my brother and sister, all of us the first to go in our extended family to college. But what we lacked in money, my parents made up in love. Love was their currency, okay? And that was where you came, with the Anzalones, for the hug, right? And you always knew that there was just a ton of love, no matter whatever the financial struggles might have been at that point in time. And they always had your back. And in the simplest of terms, my parents are good people that always had your back. And that was just a really important part of our success, my brother and sister and I, in terms of the affection that they gave us and what we knew that we could count on them. And the third thing, in terms of success for us, was really the St. Joseph Public Schools. Because by the grace of God, we lived in St. Joseph, Michigan. I started here 1 year after we moved from Benton Harbor, Michigan. And I am a case study in what every child should have the opportunity in public schools and doesn't really have. I could have just as easily been a statistic in another school district. My dad was a hard worker and had a heart attack at 35 and open heart surgery at 36. That changed things, but that was okay when you walked into this building. It didn't matter if you were a free lunch kid, which sometimes we were, or just a middle class kid, which sometimes we were, or if you were the kid of an executive of Whirlpool or Bendix. This was the safe zone where you got a good education and good academic, and your God-given potential was nurtured. And you could go on and be a success as long as you worked hard. And I thank the St. Joe Public School System for that. I was driving to go have lunch with Sally. I swear to God, one of my favorite songs came on. It was John Cougar Mellencamp, Small Town, right? Born in a small town, educated in a small town, dream in a small town. But the difference between dreaming in a place like this, or other places in America, and having your dreams come true is a good education. And that's what the St. Joseph School System gave to me, gave to my brother, gave to my sister, and hopefully that is the thing that should be given to every kid all across America. And so I thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving me that opportunity, nurturing me, sending me off into the world, and hopefully me giving back to my community because of what I learned here. Thank you very much.
Well, folks, that really concludes our formal presentation, but please join me for one more round of applause for our awards. Let me tell you what the drill is now. Graduation starts on the field at 6 o'clock, right, Mrs. Carter? Okay, so we have seats on the field near the graduates for our honorees. Well, congratulations, class of 2016. The St. Joseph Public School Foundation is pleased to honor you and at this time announce the recipients of our prestigious Distinguished Alumni and Philanthropist Awards. The awards were presented to our honorees at a special ceremony earlier today. Their accomplishments are many, and I invite you to refer to your program for a complete list of their outstanding achievements. It is with great pleasure that I present to you the 2016 Distinguished Alumni. Carol Bartz Stockman. Carol graduated from St. Joe High School in 1945, and after attending the University of Michigan, she married her St. Joe High School sweetheart, Alan, in 1946. In addition to raising a family and helping to run the family farm, she became extensively involved in her church, politics, and community activities, spearheading many projects that have had a profound impact on our community. Carol served as Berrien County Treasurer for 12 years, as well as on the Blossomland United Way Board for 8 years. Carol was also instrumental in spearheading a campaign to acquire a permanent building for the Benton Harbor Street Ministry. She was a founding organizer of the Lakeshore Excellence Foundation, serving as its first president for 6 years. Most notably, in 2015, she helped form the Coalition to Fight Against Prescription Drug and Heroin Abuse. Carol was named the 2016 Berrien County Friend of Public Health for the work she has done to raise community awareness and initiate action regarding this cause. Congratulations, Carol Stockman. John Anzalone. John graduated from St. Joe in 1982. He has over 25 years of polling experience helping candidates, associations, and corporations with message development and strategic planning. John has built a nationally acclaimed firm, Anzalone, Litz, Grove Research, that helped elect President Barack Obama twice, U.S. senators, and dozens of congressmen, as well as big city mayors throughout the country. The Washington Post has called Anzalone one of the hottest pollsters in the nation. John is currently one of the main pollsters and strategic consultants for Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. Prior to his polling career, Anzalone was a campaign operative who worked for Democratic strategist James Carville and Paul Began as in U.S. Senator Fred Lautenberg's 1988 campaign. He began his political career as an aide to David Wilhelm, who later became the Democratic National Convention Chairman. John Anzalone, congratulations. Stephen and Elizabeth Upton. Our next honorees are Stephen and Elizabeth Upton, recipients of the St. Joe Public Schools Foundation's Distinguished Philanthropist Award. The Uptons have given generously to the St. Joseph Public School District, notably funding the planetarium renovations at Upton Middle School in 2010, as well as numerous other projects. Asked to comment on their philosophy of life that they would like to share with our students, Steve and Elizabeth stated, "We believe that one of the keys to success in life is found in education, which will also include learning from life's hard knocks. We learn from our mistakes. We also believe in the give back principle. Whirlpool started with 3 or 4 people. Today it employs 90,000 individuals worldwide. We believe in using that success to reinvest in the lives of the people here in our communities. So, succeed in life and use your success to give back to others." Thank you, Steve and Elizabeth Upton, for all that you do. Once again, congratulations, class of 2016. We're proud of you and wish you well in all that you do. We hope that our honorees will provide inspiration to you as you go forward. Go Bears!